Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. After the research methodology, the very next section we would be going to discuss in this thesis, in this chapter 1 of introduction, that would be validity and reliability of the data. You need to discuss in your this part of this is that how this research can be considered as reliable and valid for the purpose of answering these questions which you have pinpoint in your thesis. How we can trust your results, your data. So in this section you need to establish, again I would say that, as I mentioned earlier, you need to mention that how the selection of topic, the review of literature, the finding of research gap in the literature, filling of that gap by your research, the creation and selection of your research questions, the selection of type of research, the selection of data collection tools, and the selection of data analysis tools, how this is reliable. You need to justify that, you need to reinforce in front of your readers and reviewers that this research is guaranteeing the most reliable, authentic, and trustworthy results in this regard. The techniques which have been applied in this case have got potential to extract the reliable data in the case of this topic in hand. So in this section you need to give all those justifications justifying that how you are applying the validity and reliability requirements required in case of research in your thesis. Apart from that, in this section you need to talk about and discuss about the privacy issues related to the particular research topic in your hand which you are exploring and finding. You need to discuss all those privacy issues. For example, you may have a topic which is related to a certain segment of the society, and there is a need of extra precautionary measures to take while undertaking that research. For example, if you are researching about any minority in Pakistan, like Christians or Hindus, or your topic is related to a certain gender of community, like it is related to females or males or maybe transgenders. So you, in that case, you may have to go extra mileage in ensuring that the arguments you will undertake, you will furnish, the statements you will give, that will not affect the sentiment of any community of the society of Pakistan. You may also have to ensure that your research shouldn't affect the fault lines of Pakistan or any XYZ country. You may not go against the Constitution of Pakistan. You may not go against the basic principles of Quran and Sunnah in Pakistan. You may not, your arguments cannot be offensive, arbitrary, prejudiced against any community of Pakistan or any sect or any religious community or any business, even any business community, or against any person, XYZ, it can be any person. So you need to keep a balance in your argument, in your debate, because the document you are writing, this is a public document. You can publish it in a book, So you need to take extra precautionary measures. You need to be extra careful while drafting your thesis, while concluding your debate, while furnishing your arguments, that it shouldn't humiliate, prejudice, it shouldn't cause injury to any segment, and unfairly, that is also unfairly, any business community, any political party, it can be any part of the community, any class, any gender, any age group, any creed, any class, any color, okay, any linguistic community. تو یہ آپ کو جو ہے اس میں انشور کروانا پڑے گا. اچھا, similarly if you are, as I already talked about, if it is related to a sensitive topic, you need to ensure all the ethical guidelines, whether you have taken ethical approvals from the relevant body of the university, that okay, I'm going to ask these questions to this fragmented community of the society, to this disadvantageous community of the society. Am I allowed to ask these questions? Would these questions be fair to be asked? Will that these questions hurt any sentiment of any part of the society? So you need to ensure all these things: the ethical considerations, the validity and reliability of data. For example, you cannot talk about the rights of Ahmadis, and you cannot advocate openly and in Pakistan, while the Constitution of Pakistan has clearly announced, declared them to be non-Muslims. So you cannot come with arguments arguing that okay, no, look, they got these beliefs, they believe so and so, so that's why they shouldn't be declared as non-Muslims. Instead, they should be declared Muslims. So these are some fault lines of every state. And similarly, in England, in America, there are some issues you cannot talk about those things. So in ethical considerations, you need to ensure that your thesis is, your research is undertaking all those ethical considerations, all those ethical requirements while conducting that research. اسی طرح سے جیسے میں نے کہا کہ آپ کوئی اپنے تھیسس میں آپ نے جو لینگویج بھی یوز کرنی ہے، آپ نے اس کا جو کنٹینٹ ہوگا اس کو آپ نے اوفینسو، آپ کا کوئی آرگومنٹ اوفینسو نہیں ہونا چاہیے، کسی بھی سیکٹ آف کمیونٹی کے بارے میں پریجوڈسڈ نہیں ہونا چاہیے. آپ کی جو اوپینین ہے وہ ایک بیلنسڈ اوپینین ہونی چاہیے. اگر آپ کو فیکٹس بیان کر رہے ہیں اور ان فیکٹس کی بنیاد پہ اگر آپ کو کوئی اوپینین اپنی جو ہے وہ دے رہے ہیں، تو آپ ایک انکمپلیٹ فیکٹس کی بنیاد پہ اپنی ججمنٹ پاس نہیں کر سکتے. آپ کے لیے یہ ضروری ہے کہ آپ دونوں پرسپیکٹیوز جو ہیں وہ اس فیکٹ کے، فار ایگزامپل اگر آپ اینٹی ڈمپنگ میں اگر آپ کسی ڈیوٹی کی انفیئر اپلیکیشن کی بات کر رہے ہیں، تو ایسا نہیں ہو سکتا کہ آپ صرف امپورٹرز کے پرسپیکٹیو سے بات کیے جائیں اور انہی کا ویو پوائنٹ جو ہے اس کو آپ ایڈوکیٹ کرتے جائیں، اور ایکسپورٹر کو آپ آن بورڈ ہی نہ لیں، یا مینوفیکچرر کو آپ آن بورڈ نہ لیں، یا جو گورنمنٹ انسٹیٹیوشنز جو انوالو ہیں، جو اینڈ یوزر ہے، جو کنزیومر ہے، اس کے ویو پوائنٹ کو آپ کہیں کلاسیفائی ہی نہ کریں. تو یہ بہرحال ایک بڑی ایک انفیئر جو آپ ایک ریسرچر کی اپروچ ہوگی اگر وہ ایک ہی سائڈ کو ایڈوکیٹ کرتا ہے اور اسی لائن کو لیتا ہے اور اسی لائن کے اوپر اپنے آرگومنٹس کو ڈرافٹ کرتا ہے. ایک ریسرچر کے لیے یہ ضروری ہے بہرحال کہ وہ ایک اسکالرشپ کے لیے کہ وہ تمام پرسپیکٹیوز کو اس ایشو سے ریلیٹڈ، جیسا کہ میں نے بتایا کہ اس کے اوپر کنزیومر کا ویو پوائنٹ بھی آنا چاہیے، اس کے اوپر مینوفیکچرر کا، ایکسپورٹر کا، امپورٹر کا، اس میں ٹریڈر کا، اس میں جو ہے وہ جو کمیشن ایجنٹس ہیں ان کا، اس میں گورنمنٹ کے جو انسٹیٹیوشنز جو انوالو ہیں، نیشنل ٹیرف کمیشن آف پاکستان فار ایگزامپل انوالوڈ ہے، اس میں آپ کی منسٹری آف ٹریڈ انوالوڈ ہے, اس میں فارن آفس اگر انوالوڈ ہے, تو ان تمام جو باڈیز ہیں ان کا بھی جو ہے وہ جو ویو پوائنٹ ہے وہ ایک بیلنس اپروچ کے ساتھ آپ اسٹیٹ کریں, اور اس کے بعد جو سائڈ آپ نے لینی ہے آپ ڈیفینیٹلی یو وڈ گو فار ون سائڈ آف آرگومنٹس, یو کین ناٹ گو فار ایوری سیگمنٹ آف دیٹ کمیونٹی. ٹھیک ہے نا جی. آپ یا تو آپ کو کنزیومر کا ویو پوائنٹ جو ہے وہ زیادہ فورسیبل اور زیادہ پاورفل لگے گا اور آپ اس کے ساتھ کھڑے ہو جائیں گے, یا آپ امپورٹر کی سائڈ لیں گے یا ایکسپورٹر کی لیں گے یا آپ ٹریڈر کی لیں گے یا مینوفیکچرر کی لیں گے. سو وچ ایور سائڈ یو آر ٹیکنگ, first of all you need to mention the relevant facts, the opinions, the arguments of all those stakeholders. After stating that you are taking a side, while taking that side you need to justify your reasoning, your logical reasoning for going for that sect of the community. So this is the validity, reliability and the ethical considerations involved. In case of research you need to draft two sections on these, and in these two sections, one the ethical considerations and the other one validity and reliability of data. In these two sections you will be discussing everything I have discussed in your related to your topic. Okay, so there is not a uniform benchmark which I can say these are the overall guidelines you will be undertaking, you will be looking into while deciding the ethical considerations of your topic, while deciding the validity and reliability of the data. Okay, let's go to the last part, that is the limitations of research. In this part of your thesis you will be discussing the limitations involved in your research. For example, you are undertaking a research upon which there is dearth of data, there is lack of data, lack of literature, only a few research papers, like 1 or 2 or maybe 5 or 10 research papers have been written on that. So this is basically a limitation. So you need to let your reader know that what limitations, what difficulties, what constraints you have to face while undertaking that research. Similarly, you may decide to go for collecting empirical data. Now you are a foreign student, you are sitting in United States of America or Canada, you are undertaking a PhD, and you need to take data, like your topic is related to like 2 or 3 jurisdictions. So one of your research questions that is demanding you to collect, to do some interviews and to collect empirical data, but as a matter of fact and factually this is difficult for you to visit all those 3 countries, those 3 jurisdictions, because it involves a lot of money, visa getting process, money as well, and the other approvals, so many approvals. So this is again a limitation. Similarly, you may have to collect empirical data, you may have to interview some stakeholders, some government bodies, some decision makers, and it may be difficult for you to get appointment with those officers, those ministers, those secretaries, to get time and to interview them. So you may lack data on that part of the on that part of your thesis, that part of your research. So this is again a limitation of your research. Similarly, you can state the time constraints. You may explore some very interesting, very ideas. You may explore some some research gaps, some areas where you are very enthusiastic, you are very interested to explore those areas, but as you have words constraints, you have time constraints. In case of PhD, you need to write your thesis in 3 years, and you need to compile all those things in 80,000 words. And in case of MPhil, you need to complete your thesis in 1 year while writing 20,000, maximum 20,000 words. And in case of research project, you need to complete your research in 3 months and you got only 8,000 words for that. So this is also a limitation. You may state that, okay, I found all these things and these are the interesting further parameters, further discussions in this regard. And if the time constraints wouldn't have been there, I would have explored these things as well. And you may also suggest those areas, those gaps, those those areas where the research need to be done. You may also suggest that in the future prospects and the which you will intend to be undertake after completing your thesis, that okay, I would be going for writing a research paper on these areas, because I think that this is a reasonable research gap in the research, which my thesis as well is not able to fill due to these constraints, these in terms of time and money, or word count as well. So whatever limitations you got, this will again depend upon case to case. This will vary, and topic to topic you may encounter a variety of limitations in your thesis. Whatever limitations you are facing, you can describe those limitations in your this part of thesis. So after limitations of the thesis, you can discuss the time frame, the time scale of your project, of your thesis, that how you will complete this research in 3 months, 1 year, or 3 years. You can give a tentative structure of your thesis, the outline of thesis, discussing the main headings of chapters, different chapters involved in your case. So this is the last section. In this section, you can give all these details about the structure of thesis, the timeline, that what you will be going in your first part of your research, first year of research, what you will be doing in your second year of research, and what you will be going to do in your third year of your research. After this, you need to give a detailed bibliography, whatever you have encountered with in terms of literature, books, research articles, online papers, conference papers, the empirical data, reports, thesis, PhD thesis, MPhil thesis, public documents. You need to mention all those things alphabetically and turn by turn, starting from the books, then research papers, online papers, journal articles, conference papers, then judgments. In judgments, you will start from the international judgments, like if you got some judgments from the International Court of Justice, they will come. Then if you got some panel reports, some regional courts judgments, some classified courts judgments, for example in case of WTO, the panel reports, the appellate tribunals reports, you will discuss those. Then you will come to the national courts, and in national courts you will start from the Supreme Court of Pakistan, High Court of Pakistan, and then the lower courts. And after courts, similarly, you can go for the reports, you can go for the documents, public documents, the documents you have collected directly through different bodies upon your request they have furnished. Like you have written letters to different countries, like I wrote in my PhD, I wrote 27 letters to all members of European Union, demanding and requesting from them some data which was related to my thesis. I was particularly looking for their voting patterns which they adopted, which they used while voting in case of Pakistan, where the question was whether this particular duty should be applied on Pakistan on import of this product or not. And so there were different voting patterns of different countries. Some of them, they were mostly on the side of Pakistan, and some of them were mostly against Pakistan. So I wrote them letters, and I requested from them their voting patterns and their reasoning for those patterns, that why did they go for yes or why did they go for no. So in this way, I'm just quoting an example from my own personal experience. In your research, depending upon the type of your research, you may have to collect different type of data. You may have to write letters, you may have to write emails to different ministries, different countries, different commissions, bodies, okay, different organizations, and upon that request you may get different type of datas in form of replies to those letters, emails, in the form of documents, in the form of videos, in the form of audios. Then you need to mention that data as well in the form of appendix. You will attach that those letters, those audio clips, those video clips. You will transcribe those audio video clips, and you will attach those transcriptions. You will attach those documents which you have obtained as appendix with your thesis, as a supplementary, as a evidential and documents that okay, I have got this data from blah 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 sources. So in bibliography and appendix, I am mixing these two things. You need to draw a line that appendix are different thing, and this bibliography is a different thing. So you need to mention all these books, research articles, reports, cases, documents, reports, websites, okay, web links, audio video links in the bibliography, and you can attach that data which you have directly extracted, obtained from different organizations, bodies, as annexure, as appendix with your thesis. So that's all for today. Thank you very much, guys.